Technical difficulties this week. That's exciting. I heard last week we had a commenter that was disappointed there were no Zombroz technical difficulties. They said this isn't Zombroz. It didn't feel the same. So I hope I can.
It's a staple of the show.
I know. So hopefully I can shake that staple off. But I'm joined by my co-host with the most wondrous work schedule in the world, who chooses to put so much time and effort into the show. I sincerely appreciate seeing you here each and every week, John. How you doing?
Doing good. I'm doing good. I'm changing the game.
Wonderful. I love it. So we have some announcements we want to jump into, one of which I believe we wanted to do at the beginning of the show, like you just told me, was our Patreon drawing.
Yes. So we talked about on the show last week. So I had these like light up perk bottles. They're like kind of holographic. They change colors.
Super dope.
The way it works is there's different ones. So there's Speed Cola, there's Quick Revive, and then we have Juggernaut here. So you tailor the color depending on which perk bottle you have in there. So we were giving this out to our patrons as a promotion for the new Patreon. You can check it out, a link in the description. We've recently updated it, and in updating it, we had to nuke it. So we lost all of our patrons.
Yeah.
We're slowly building it back up. We're currently up to 23 patrons right now, which is actually pretty awesome. We're not that far from where we previously were. So I'm actually really happy right now with the support from you guys in the Patreon. And I'm sure part of the reason a lot of you joined the Patreon because you were like, all right, this perk bottle light up thing is awesome and I want to get it. And we mentioned that we were going to do a giveaway for one of these. But I figured rather than just do it like midweek and tweet it randomly, I figured we would do it on the show.
Yeah.
So I have right now, I'm going to pull up the random number generator.
Yay. And you can earn these type of giveaways for supporting the Patreon. We're trying to give back to people who are supporting the podcast. So you can find a link to that in the description.
So we're going to be doing it between 1 and 23 because that's how many patrons we have right now. I'm going to hit generate. We got the number 20.
So
we'll go down to the list right now of patrons. 20 gets us Orange Man from Mars.
Nice.
Who is a regular of Topic Time.
Oh, fitting.
Orange Man, or not Orange Man from Mars, just Orange Man from. That's his name. I don't know.
Oh.
I got the Mars.
Oh, that's
so I'm gonna write that down.
Yes,
Orange
please.
_man from. And I'm going to be sending this out, honestly, probably tomorrow, because I plan on going to the post office tomorrow. So this will be going out tomorrow, but that's not the only thing that we're also doing. So if you want to be a part of the Patreon, a link is in the description. We did the drawing for the first holographic perk bottle, the Juggernaut one. But we have two more. We have Speed Cola. So make it green for Speed Cola. And then we also have Juggernaut.
Yeah.
These pop in and out, by the way, if you're wondering how this works.
Oh, that's super neat.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, I just passed blue. Now we got to cycle around.
Or you keep going. You keep doing it.
There we go. Light blue for Quick Revive. So we have these. We have Quick Revive and we have Speed Cola. We'll be doing a drawing for these at the end of the show today. This is what it looks like when it's not lit up. So Speed Cola, Quick Revive. If you want to make sure you get in on the drawing, this will be at the end. So check it out. A link to the Patreon's in the description. If you're already a patron, you are awesome. We appreciate your support, and you don't need to worry about re-signing up. You're automatically re-entered into the drawing. But yeah, thank you guys for supporting the show. You guys have been amazing. We're trying to give back a lot this month, so I've been talking to some people who do some really interesting zombie stuff, and they are going to help us out with this project of giving back to you guys as we kind of promote this Patreon over the next month and get us back to where we were. So thank you for your help. I hope you guys like the perk bottles, and I look forward to doing the drawing at the end of the show. I think that's all I need to say on that matter.
Terrific. How do you spell canceled? Now I'm confused. I took a PNG offline, and it has two L's that I overlaid onto the image of the COD Mobile. But then the title is CANCELED, and then when I Googled it, Google's dictionary from Oxford says it's CANCELED, the way the title has it, but not the thumbnail. And Smart Guy had to bring it up, so the entire chat is having conniption right now.
Cancel spelled with one L.
Okay, there it is. There it is. What would two L's be, though? What is the definition of that, actually? I could have just Googled that. Oh, shit. Why does that come up, too? Do they both work? Why would they both...
It might just be a regional thing.
Could be. Wow, both are in the Oxford Dictionary. Both work. Oh wait, what's this from Grammarly? Oh no, which spelling is canceled or canceled is the past tense of the verb cancel. Both spellings are correct. Oh, from Grammarly. Debate settled, and it's over. There we are. Regardless, the title of today's episode that has spawned the controversy, which I never knew existed, in spelling the word canceled, COD Mobile is canceled. And we got a statement from the developers, so I'm going to read that for everybody else who didn't know this was going on.
This isn't just like a statement. This is how they announced it.
Yes. This is their announcement on Call of Duty Mobile Reddit. John sent me. I saw Polygon and Games Radar. I actually looked up as soon as you told me yesterday. You're like, hey, Reed, it got canceled. I looked up some articles to try and get educated about it for the episode today. And I'm going to zoom this in so I don't hopefully... Oh, yeah. Oh, good. That's nice and... There we go. Nice and large font for old man Reed to read. Okay, boomer. Zombies mode. One of the most frequently... And this, okay, so I am now quoting what the developers had to say about Call of Duty Mobile canceling zombies. One of the most frequently asked questions to these updates is, what about zombies mode? Today, after the extensive evaluation, we are sharing that zombies, all caps, mode is being removed on March 25th. We had always mentioned it was limited, but with no explicit end date. We wanted to see the reception, see the feedback, and see how we can potentially shape the mode for the future. However, the mode just didn't reach the level of quality that we desire. The second map, Nach der Untoten, is also not releasing in global version. We may bring the mode back with Nach der Untoten once we can make sure it is high enough quality. But for now, we'll focus on development for multiplayer, battle royale, and ranked mode. Hugs and kisses, your developers. They didn't do that last part. I did.
Yeah, I feel like this announcement really went under the radar.
Did it?
Yeah, as in, like, when I was trying to find it, like, there really wasn't a mention of it on the COD Zombies Reddit.
Yeah, there's definitely nothing on that.
Like, I was expecting the COD Zombies Reddit to have, like, some kind of announcement, you know? Like, somebody would have mentioned it in a post, but there really wasn't. This was only on the COD Mobile subreddit, where there has actually been a decent bit of discussion. Like, the people who are dedicated to COD Mobile aren't happy. They've made, like, petition posts and stuff. But as far as, like, the zombies community, I found out about it through a Dalek video.
Oh, well, good on John for being on top of everything.
Mm-hmm. But John's also been on top of COD Mobile from the beginning. Like,
True.
He's been one of the leading people to cover it. But I think, like, outside of zombies, I think it's just been John and now us. And then on Reddit, it's really just been on the COD Mobile Reddit. So I was actually surprised how little, like, attention this news brought.
Yeah, but then maybe is that a telling sign of how over zombies isn't anymore in the communities? And by that, I'm referring to, like, getting over with audiences. It is clearly seeming like the party for zombies has continued to diminish. What used to be a money printing press in Black Ops 3's days, they're not getting the reception they wanted. Now, there's more like we wanted to dive into with this response, because they're saying a couple things in here in their PR lingo that makes me think, like, I think there's more going on. I think there's more going on here than meets the eye.
I think there's a lot going on.
Right. So what held you up inside this announcement text-wise? What key words or phrases started putting some red flags off in your head like it did mine? Potentially like mine.
Well, I wanna mention, like,
yeah,
you know, they said we always said it was a limited time thing.
Yeah.
Which, like, maybe they did, and maybe we just chose to ignore that.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I feel like now you're just, like, defending your decision. You're like,
right.
All right, we know this is gonna be popular, so we're just gonna say that we told you all along this was happening, so you can't, like, flip out at us.
Right.
Like does that feel like a little?
Definitely.
I don't know. Were you aware it was a limited time thing? Chat,
No.
Tell me. Were you guys aware this was a limited time thing?
I also wasn't playing it regularly, so it could have been.
No.
But, I mean, getting axed in the middle of development for Nach der Untoten after putting it on the test servers, odd. Odd move not to just release Nach der Untoten as well. Very odd.
That's also where I'm coming from, too. It's like, it was like 90% done. At least like we think it looked done in the test servers. I didn't see people discussing the major bugs and not. That would like make us think perhaps it was broken. I don't know. So obviously they cite that the quality just wasn't there.
That doesn't seem right to me. You're talking about COD Mobile quality, right?
Yeah, it's like Zombies played it. To me, Zombies played as well as multiplayer.
Yeah.
Was multiplayer not up to snuff?
Potentially. See, that's where I was going to go with this. Reading between the lines with that quality was the key word. When they started saying that, it made me feel as though, we realized how much time and effort it takes to make zombie maps, and the opportunity cost doesn't make sense for us. So we're just ditching it because we're not making money, is what I gather.
What was like? Do we understand COD Mobile's like business plan, like how they actually do make money?
It's got to be
like obviously
microtransactions,
microtransaction, cosmetics, skin, stuff like that. But do those translate into zombies?
Not very well, I would imagine, because the gobblegum system isn't like, it doesn't really exist on mobile. I know there were little bits of it in there, but did you ever feel the need like you need to go buy something?
No, I never felt the need.
Right. So I don't think that works well inside the game, where there's all these outfits and all these extra things you can buy in COD Mobile. The whole platform is all about getting you to buy. You have to click through 30 different screens just to start playing the game. It's obnoxious. Zombies apparently wasn't bringing in that revenue in the first couple months.
Yeah, it feels so weird because of how much effort they put into Zombies. I mean, we talked about this before, but like we felt like they gave Zombies a real honest go.
Yeah.
You know, like they created a new game mode. They created a whole host of different bosses to fight.
Mm-hmm.
They built up Shino Numa. They added its own little Easter egg quest. They added a secret area. You know, like they really gave they gave it a little bit of a story.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't like they just crapped out a product.
I agree.
And you know, in our last show about COD Mobile, we spent the whole show singing its praises. We're like, you know, it's not console zombies, but did you expect console zombies? No,
because you shouldn't. I was expecting console zombies.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Like, it's just, I don't believe them when they say that the quality just wasn't there. What I want to think is that the money wasn't there and the player base wasn't there, and they're like, well, if we don't feel like putting resources into this, we should be doubling down on what's actually making us money. So goodbye zombies.
Which makes sense as a business proposition, and it only goes to show us how worried a state zombies might be at this point due to the lack of financial earnings, and that's what seems to drive Call of Duty these days. It has nothing to do with artistic expression or trying to make a good game. It's all about that bottom dollar. It's been that way for a very long time. We have no disillusions about that. And it was short-lived, so I don't think there's too much of a personal, like, oh, man, they really want to do this quietly. It would seem like your point saying no one seemed to have noted this went under the radar. It's just going to get phased out, and people are going to go like, oh, yeah, that's right. Zombies was there for a little time. But then to throw it back in, like, we might bring it back, is like, oh, that sounds like a cash grab. That sounds like you don't give a shit. There's something going on. There's something really...
The we might bring it back is like, this statement is so weird.
It's like, do you not have time to develop it? Is that what you're saying?
But it's also like you have a whole map done. Like, you literally made a goddamn, like, new map, and you're just telling me it's not going to be released?
What if they're canceling it so they can release it as a DLC map pack that you have to buy?
No, I don't think they would do that.
Okay.
I think they actually will bring it back at some point.
I do too.
My conspiracy theory was that here's my suspicion. So zombies probably, the player base dwindled probably really quickly.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, not many people are playing this, and we're putting a lot of resources into this map.
Mm-hmm.
If we release this map, we're going to get a bump in players, but it won't be enough to make it worth it.
Yeah.
So let's remove the game, wait 2 months, and then be like, by popular demand, we listen to you guys. You know,
yeah.
Because then it makes it look like they listen to the community, and people go, oh shit, like, you know, zombies isn't here forever. It could get pulled at any moment. I better play Noct while it's here. I I think they're trying to almost be a little manipulative. That's my theory right now.
I think that's a solid theory. Fear of missing out is an excellent marketing tactic that many businesses employ. And I'd imagine that is the best way to get the best bang for their buck in terms of resources, because zombies might take a lot and then might have high player count numbers, run it for a limited time, and then remove it once the numbers dwindle and they're not getting a high player base, and then bring it back, and that'll do the same thing over and over again. And they don't have to front what Treyarch does and all the other devs, the maintenance costs of the servers to keep people playing. You make a great point. And Smart Guy did bring up the only thing you could buy in mobile zombies was wonder weapons. So apparently those weren't selling well.
Yeah, they probably weren't. But it's like, are you really surprised they're not selling well? Like, I think, I almost feel like zombies didn't get a fair shake in this game.
Yeah, how so?
Well, because it's like, obviously we like to imagine that we can play a zombies map for months and months and months and we'll never get bored of it. But I think that's not true.
Yeah, for any map.
They gave us one map back in November. So it's November, December, January, February, now into March. We're coming up on 5 months of just Shinonuma. Like, you don't think we're going to get tired of Shinonuma? It's like, like the way zombies works is that we play a map for about a month, kind of get bored, but then we're pulled back in by the next DLC. You know?
Yeah.
But when you go 5 months in between maps, of course the player base is going to dwindle. Like 100%. I think if they were releasing a new map every 2 months or so, then actually I think you'd have a really good product on your hand that could possibly succeed. But I think they realized that wasn't feasible, so they're pulling the plug.
It makes a fair argument, and they didn't, like they said, Newbie pointed out in their initial blog post, they did qualify as limited time. This was definitely testing grounds. It was just another experiment for sure. This wasn't a love letter to zombie fans. This wasn't something to try and stoke the community back into interest. It was just testing business grounds to see, hey, we still own this IP. Can we get something else out of it? And they did.
It's frustrating though that like they're gonna put this much effort into zombies just to pull it.
Sure, for the people that liked it, absolutely.
No, but it's like I don't get, like, why did you bother so much, like creating a little story, working on a map, making it 90% complete just to pull the plug? Like, why not just say, hey, we're gonna do Noct and then this is gonna be the last map?
No,
you know, and that's where like the conspiracy side of me comes in and thinks they're trying to like create demand through like limited availability, but you know,
I see that.
What was the point?
And I also see potentially management, where management's just like, hey, do your best, you know, we're gonna let you have this project and see how it goes. And so a couple developers went really, really hard, made something really, really special, and the boss comes over and goes like, great job, really liked it, but we got to pull it because we need more people working on Battle Royale this month. It's just how it's got to work, and maybe we'll bring it back. So then the developer here in the post is being like, well, maybe it'll come back because my boss said it might. So they could be playing that game. I mean, COD Mobile seems to be the least in touch with the community potentially. I have no idea. I'm completely pulling this out. So I'm guessing they don't really need to be as transparent as they would for normal games. There's COD Mobile YouTubers, but it's nowhere as close to the scrutiny of a normal COD release, would you say? Or is that, am I being obtuse?
It doesn't meet the same... It obviously doesn't meet the same scrutiny, but just I've been reading the COD Mobile Reddit to kind of get a feeling for the reaction to zombies being pulled. And it definitely, I think there is a sense that the devs don't always listen to the community for COD Mobile.
Okay.
And it seems like COD Mobile does have its own little active community. I mean, they have a subreddit with 60,000.
Oh, that's substantial. I don't want to discredit them. That's why I didn't want to be like they're nothing.
And they're a community that I think is they're even though I think most of them are multiplayer guys, they are rallying around zombies. Like they made a post. They've made a few petition posts. So for example, there's one that has 2,800 upvotes. You know, most posts on the COD Zombies Reddit don't ever get that big. A lot of them, they want it to be permanent. But they also think that this game mode does actually need some changes and room for improvement. But there is a sentiment definitely on the subreddit that's pretty active. They want this game.
Interesting.
But I think the devs don't always listen to them.
Yeah, and also if their numbers are telling them we're not making money, it's not cost effective, and say 60,000 people are playing it, but they have, I don't know, 10 million downloads. Like, we don't care what 60,000 people say or want in the grand scheme of things when they're looking at the monies, the income, the numbers, and they got to answer to their boss. And I very much think this is it feels business all the way to me. Like, just business, kid. Nothing personal. It's really how it feels.
Yeah. Excuse me, I'm a little tired. It is the fourth highest post on their subreddit. They're like their Save Zombies petition.
That's pretty big. That's substantial.
Yeah. And there's multiple posts like these. And there's also like memes commiserating the death of it.
There's always got to be memes. I don't know. It's interesting how in our age that we're going to use memes to help the grieving process.
Yeah.
It's a new era.
But I was curious. So if COD Zombies Mobile is getting pulled because of a lack of quality.
Oh, yes.
Where do you see the game being improved if it was to come back? Now, I don't think they're actually pulling it because of quality. I think what if you read between the lines, actually what they're saying is we can't make a quality map regularly with the restrictions and budget and team we have.
Yep.
So we're just not going to do it, which is fine.
Yeah.
But the game as a whole, as it stands right now in Shinonuma, where do you think the issues are?
Replayability was clearly one of the big issues we discussed. When you play the game for only 10 rounds to fight the same boss every time, and you do the same thing where you virtually can't die, you lose that edge, even though there is a survival. To its credit, there is a survival mode where I think there's still a timer. I think we discussed that as well. So we're not getting a good feedback loop inside playing the zombie game, just as you're trying to get set up and understand all the coin system, as that seems to be, a lot on top of the upgrade system you have in game, on top of the perk system you have in game. They put all these really neat and well thought out systems, but it feels like you didn't have enough time to manage them or figure it out. And there was no incentive to really get it too perfect, because I guess you could. There could be that optimized strategy, or the basic game theory where you always want to play the dominant strategy. But there's that limit you brought up. Like, there is a hard limit on the very best way you can play, which isn't always the case in zombies because of the timer, because of I know if I get these upgrades and I get this gun, I'm going to be all set, barring RNG ray gun out of the box. It feels like it's I'm going to play this the same way multiple times. So I think that could use a lot of improvement if they're talking quality. Again, I didn't expect that type of quality, but if that's going to be their excuse, then we can start hitting them on these type of qualities. I thought it was just interesting enough to have the Easter egg to go to Zet and these little ideas and new bosses and all that.
Like all those little details, they don't strike me as the quality issue. Like the biggest one for me is you've hit the timer, especially the timer in survival mode.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think Zombies has a fundamental flaw being a part of COD Mobile.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Zombies should be looked at as an online multiplayer game.
Okay.
Like COD Mobile is.
Sure.
Because you could do solo play, but you're still connected to an online server that you can't pause.
Yes.
Like, one of the best parts of the old COD Mobile Zombies that we've had, like the Black Ops 1 and the World at War 1, was that you could pause the game, leave the app running, and come back to it,
Yes.
So you could pick up and play, but you can't do this with COD Mobile. You're also in survival mode on a 1 hour and 80, or I think it's 180 minute timer. So I think roughly 3 hours.
300 minutes.
300 minutes?
Yeah, smart from the chat.
Okay, 300 minutes. And that's lot
reasonable.
Of time.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Now it's up to 300.
It's reasonable, but it's 5 hours, but it shouldn't be there. I don't want to have a timer ticking, even if I know that timer is 5 hours long.
Yeah.
I don't want a timer ticking in the top left corner, because what it does is create an artificial ceiling to how far I can get in zombies.
Right, and that's not the mode. I don't want
that meant. And zombies is a mode. Zombies is always about a mode that the game lasts as long as you can survive. But once you throw a timer on there, it fundamentally shifts it. It's no longer a game about how long you could survive, but a game about how long you could survive or how far you can get within the timer. And it's like, do I want to play for 5 hours straight in one sitting on a mobile phone?
Yeah, right.
I'm not sure I do. So I want that ability to be able to pick up and play, pausing it.
That's a great point. You bring about
there.
quality. Yes, that is a great point.
I do wonder if the devs kind of realize that and they're like, well, we're kind of confined to this COD mobile engine where everything's running off an online server. You know, like the game's not exactly running off of your phone. It's running off of like the COD mobile, whatever. You know, I don't even know what to call it. Obviously, your phone is running the game.
Yes.
But you're still confined to, like, you got to be connected to their COD mobile server.
Yes.
You know,
that's what's going to kick you off in 5 hours. That's why they have the limitation of 300 minutes.
Yeah, that's what's kicking you off after a while, and that's probably because they don't want people on those servers for like 10 hours at a time.
Yeah, if they leave their phone charged and accidentally on, they don't want somebody on their server for that long. I bet multiplayer-wise, they don't have to even deal with that problem. But Zombies leaves that window open. But you make a great point.
Multiplayer is easy because the games will by nature be over eventually. Like unless we found ourselves in a multiplayer game where everybody just agreed to do nothing for hours on end, which like the amount of coordination would almost be impressive.
Yes.
Like there's no way you're just gonna be sitting on that server like hogging up bandwidth for hours on end. So it's just like I really hope that the devs kind of sat down and said to themselves, we're really hindering this game mode by putting it in COD Mobile. And then what I would love is then to transition, be like, okay, well, let's actually spin this off into its own game and make a proper COD Mobile Zombies like we've tried to 2 times already.
Yeah, maybe they will do that, and then they'll charge us $10 for it, and then they'll feel super happy because they can make a crap ton of money.
Well, here's an idea I had. Obviously, we're going to pay for this game in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Because, like, the game needs money. Otherwise, how else is it going to run? I would actually, if they were to create a COD Mobile Zombies that functioned as well as the original World at War one, where the game ran smoothly, the game could be paused. The Black Ops 1 had a lot of issues. That one had had massive frame rate issues, but the World at War one didn't.
Okay.
If they were to make a game that ran like that, ran smoothly, or let's just say ran as well as COD Mobile Zombies, because I felt that ran well.
Yep.
But you maybe paid a subscription fee, so like $2 a month.
Oh, well, that's reasonable. $2 is more reasonable.
Something reasonable. $2 a month, or $5. Like let's cap it at $5 a month. Let's set a ceiling.
Okay.
But you're getting regular updates. So let's say monthly Wonder Weapon, a new map every 3 months, a new boss every 2 months, new game modes. Like think of Zombies as a service. In the game you could pick up. I know it sounds. I know software as a service fires people up, but if you don't believe in software as a service, you don't understand the world of development.
Yeah.
Software as a service. Software as a service is here to stay, and it's a good thing. It's absolutely a good thing. So Zombies as a service, where you're paying like $2 a month, but you're getting regular updates, regular new content, and the game is guaranteed to have it not run out of resources because it's the only thing that's being focused on. It's not splitting resources with like Blackout and multiplayer.
I could see it being a substantial niche. A lot of Activision management, I think, just got excited at Half Chub when you said what you said about Zombies as a service, but it's I think it's a very viable model when you put it in those terms. I want to buy it. I do want to highlight Agent Instakill.
Think about it like this though. Like if you're gonna pay Black Ops 1 or for like the next Call of Duty, you're gonna pay $60.
Yep.
And then you're gonna pay $15. Really, actually, let's say you buy the season pass. So you're gonna pay $120.
Yeah.
But let's say you subscribe to the COD Zombies. Let's say you subscribe to the COD Zombies service for $3 a month, and you really enjoyed it, and you played it for 2 years straight. You're really only paying 12 times or 24 times 3, 64 or $72. That's 2 years of Zombies at the price of one Call of Duty, minus the DLC. Like when you put it like that, and you think about how much you're paying up front with Call of Duty. You might actually pay less with a subscription model and get more.
Whenever you put it in those terms, we're like, well, if I'm only technically paying a penny a day for it, it's a fair argument. It's an argument that hits well. But in this serious business talk, I wanted to highlight Agent Insta-Kill's comment that made me smile in chat. Not a huge mobile gamer, but Zombies on the Toilet was great. 2 exclamation points. And
Zombies
that's the
on the
convenience, dude.
Well, that's why for a while I was trying to see if I can get Zombies to run on my Switch. Because I realized that you could actually stream like PS4 games and stuff like that, Steam games to a Switch with a hacked model. And I looked into that for a video, but then I realized that I can get banned from Nintendo's online services, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo's very picky on that stuff. But like the idea that I had for it was like, okay, what if I can actually just like lie in bed and plays my Switch, but it's Zombies, because I love doing that. I love having my Switch and just hanging in bed, like Zombies on my phone in bed. Like, yes, please.
Yeah. It definitely can't hurt. An interesting point that was brought up in chat as well is just the difference in ideologies in the publishers. CD Projekt Red is releasing Cyberpunk 2077, and they pushed that release date back to September. I only realized that recently, even though they announced it quite a while ago. With that, they said anybody who buys it for the Xbox X or /S, whatever this generation is, will get an automatic free upgrade when they buy the next generation of consoles that come out this fall in the Christmas season. This is something that has been dabbled with in the gaming realms, even in certain places like Call of Duty. The original World at War, if you bought it for PC, all the DLC zombie maps for free. If you bought the special edition of Call of Duty Black Ops 1, DLC 4, you got Moon for free. So it's interesting to see little type of things like, well, if you support us up front, we will make sure to take care of you later on. Now, Activision has gotten far from that, but do you think there could ever be a chance where it would be in their best interest to start trying to do that to gamers, to try and win their trust back, especially when everyone is so apprehensive, and I'd say rightfully so, and justifiably so, maybe justifiably so, maybe not so much rightfully so, depending on the situation, of their practices. I think that's an interesting comparison in the modern day when you have these juggernauts like Activision and CD Projekt Red. Obviously, Activision makes far more money on their business, but, you know, I would like to see a lot more of that in gaming, and with the Zombies as a Service, is there any way we could grandfather people in? Is there any way that we would see that in the real games, that Call of Duty would be happy to upgrade you to the next service or something for the Zombies community in that way? It seems so foreign, right?
I don't think Activision would.
Would ever again.
Yeah, no, I don't see them ever doing that. I could see them like bundling and offering like special promotions, like, oh, if you own all the DLC for like get all the big zombie fans on board. Like, if you own all the DLC for Black Ops 4, you can get Black Ops 5 at a reduced price. To kind of like, or say like, we're gonna, if you'd purchase all the DLC for Black Ops 4 in our new Zombies on mobile service game, we're gonna give you 2 free wonder weapons.
See, there it is. That's how I think they would approach it, where it's that reward for, have you already bought and stuff, we're gonna give you little bonuses. I think that is the Activision approach compared to what some of the other developers do with very different games and genres. Not that I think it's interesting.
They've done that before, though.
Yeah,
where they've offered promotions where it's like if you pre-order the latest Call of Duty, we'll give you in the current Call of Duty something.
Yeah. Why? Now let's take this a step further, just for the sake of talking and having fun with this conversation. Why can't we get that with Super Easter eggs? Why can't they look into our trophies and achievements and see what Easter eggs we've completed, and then if you complete all the previous Easter eggs on previous games, we're going to give you a big reward, or give you a reward of sorts? I mean, wouldn't that encourage players now to go back and buy the old games or go and play the old Zombies games to prove you have all the trophies, all the achievements, so you could get the special Richtofen undie bundle where he's in his underwear from Origins. You caught him off guard when he's talking about the blood.
That could work.
I Just putting it out there as a possible way if we're talking the business ideologies of it. So the reason I brought it up was to set up that idea is like Activision's probably not going to go backwards. So how could they go forwards as we understand what we're going to get out of the Activision business model? To me, that sounds potentially viable that we could get. We're not going to get free upgrades like we would love to have. And I don't think it does us any good just to be like, well, that developer's doing it, so why aren't we? Well, because they're not the same developer. They're in completely different places. So what could we get out of it potentially down that road?
It's also like a franchise like Cyberpunk is trying to build as much goodwill because it's so new.
Yes, you're right. It's also new IP where Call of Duty doesn't. It's like
Call of Duty's not.
Yeah,
they're established. They're already a gaming juggernaut. They don't have to do as much goodwill building.
100%. 100%. Not that CD Projekt Red isn't established, but not to the level of Call of Duty, and it is a brand new IP. Even though you got Keanu Reeves and you have a lot of goodwill, I bet it doesn't. Well, maybe. I don't know. That's a fun question. Do you think it will outsell Call of Duty, Cyberpunk 2077? Will it outsell Call of Duty 5 or Black Ops 5 or the next Treyarch game?
I could not answer that question. I have no idea.
Right? Because Red Dead Redemption did excellent in sales, and GTA has done excellent in sales before, and I know that's Rockstar.
They were already big games.
There you are, right?
Cyberpunk is so new.
Brand new IP.
Think about every IP that's come along before, and like this is the Call of Duty killer. Titanfall is going to destroy Call of Duty.
Right.
Why? Because Titanfall is from Respawn, which is essentially the people who made Modern Warfare 2. You know, like Titanfall was hyped to be this Call of Duty killer.
Yes.
No, it wasn't.
It didn't become. No, it didn't. But they did. But you know what's an interesting parallel you bring up here? Respawn Entertainment, which I believe is the developers of Titanfall, they were praised for their non-predatory microtransaction practices, very much like CD Projekt Red is celebrated. And so you would think people would come out in droves, sort of like people did for the Sonic movie, to be like, we approve of how you took feedback and you did it the right way. You know, it didn't really drive sales.
It's a completely different thing.
Right. So even though they have the goodwill of The Witcher 3, it's not going to push sales unless we're in a completely different era that's really justifying the idea of moral buyings or your ethics. If gamers really care ethically how games are made, do they? Does that really drive sales? Right?
No.
Would that make
doesn't.
a difference? It maybe a few thousand that will purchase one and not the other, but I don't think that's going to be able to swing a Call of Duty game.
I don't think this affects the bottom line at all.
Right. I would agree.
You know who are the people who are singing their praises and who are celebrating their good business practices?
Yes.
Just like the random 10,000 people on Reddit.
Exactly what I was getting at. It's just the YouTubers and Redditors, not
the YouTubers and the Redditors. And sorry, Reddit, but you're not as important as you think you are.
Not even close.
Think about every time Reddit has decided to boycott EA or hijacked an online poll to name EA the worst business in America.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we're not playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
And then that game goes on to sell just fine.
Even Battlefront recovered from it.
Because Battlefront recovered just fine.
Once it was out of the news, Disney wasn't mad anymore.
They did a lot of good work to build back trust from their community.
Sure.
But for every Reddit boycott, there's a game that sold just fine.
Yeah.
And I don't think it actually matters that these companies are building goodwill and making good business or making good consumer choices.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they're not selling to the 10,000 people on Reddit. They're selling to the masses, and the masses don't give a shit. The masses don't even realize.
100%. It's just mindless. That's all it is. And
so it's like I don't think Activision needs to really concern itself with building positive will.
Exactly. Ethical environments.
As terrible as that sounds. I want companies to make good consumer choices.
Yeah. I don't want them to be crunching the devs. I think that's horrible. I think that sucks.
I don't want this, but I just saying it's like
consumers aren't doing anything about it.
I don't think Cyberpunk having a really consumer friendly approach is going to make or break the game. What's going to make or break the game is the quality of the game at launch.
Right.
if that was the case, that how Reddit feels about a game dictates its success, then games that were beloved or games that were beloved in the lead up, like remember like when Watch Dogs
Yep.
was beloved by the internet,
Yep.
and then it came out and it was broken as shit and nobody played it.
Yep.
You know, how Reddit feels about a game doesn't determine its success. Whether or not the game is good quality determines its success.
That's a great point and an awesome argument. I agree with you there.
Now, if a company has terrible consumer relations and
that
then
is going to impact
garbage,
yeah,
that's going to be bad.
That gets into the Bethesda Fallout 76 world. There's actually an interview from one of the developers that leaned into YouTubers just cashing in on making videos about it. And basically, he's like, I only want to listen to the Redditors. I'd rather go listen to the feedback of what people are saying. And he basically admitted, I just like my echo chamber. I like hearing from the few people that really, really like the game versus all the other stuff. And their PR nightmares have been well chronicled over the past 2 years now with this Fallout 76 issues. That has impacted the success of the game, and I guarantee the mental health of those developers. I think all those developers were put through hell with this Fallout 76 experience, and they're just unwilling to recognize that there was problems with the release, and the practices weren't done very well or at all, and consumers have hit back hard on them for that.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, also, if, to bring this back to Call of Duty, you know, the way Black Ops 4 was received with all its problems at launch.
Yep.
Activision is now taking a much more lenient approach to development.
Okay. Yes.
And basically saying Black Ops 4 really failed to take off because of how much of an issue it had at launch. So let's do everything in our power to make sure that it doesn't have a rocky launch.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And that then translates to giving the devs more time, giving them more resources, hopefully.
That has to be their number one priority.
That's what they shouldn't be worrying about building goodwill. They should be worrying about that.
For Activision, 100%. It doesn't make sense for them to care about goodwill at this point, which is horrible to say. It's totally frustrating as a consumer. But if you're trying to see multiple sides of this argument of the situation here, and not just being blind in an echo chamber, their biggest priority is having a good launch. It's got to be. That's got to be all they've been thinking about, especially even inside Treyarch, is this game has to work on launch. There's no way we're releasing another Black Ops 4. That cannot happen.
What this means is then let's make sure we have more resources and a bigger team, but also let's make sure we're not tackling as much of this.
Yes, we're going to make this a smaller scope. And I think we're going to see that in the next game. It's going to be a much smaller scope. And I got this strange feeling, might be wrong, very possibly going to be wrong because they had a shorter timeline to make the game. But they're going to make one or two maps maybe, if they continue to zombies. That would shock me if there's no zombies. That would really shake things up a bit. But I think they still bring zombies back. And it's going to be good, and we're going to be like, you know, it feels like I could have wanted more, but I was satisfied. I'm not blown away, but I was satisfied, and that's going to be enough to get the momentum going into the season.
Give us like 1-2 good maps. That's all we really need. We don't need 4 maps at launch.
I agree.
Like
it drove us crazy at launch.
We were satisfied at Black Ops 3 with just Shadows of Evil and the Giant. And the Giant was just a reskin of Reeves. Like you don't need.
Yeah,
we're not that picky.
Yeah,
we're not that demanding.
No, but then when you do so much, you overwhelm us, and then you don't do it all right.
And then you don't do it right,
and then all of a sudden the nitpicking comes out. It comes out in droves for months about like, well, why did we get this awesome thing but not this awesome thing? And you just keep seeing these peaks and valleys of experiences all the way through Black Ops 4 that I think really impacted the reception.
Mm-hmm. So let's get back to COD Mobile because I want to go into more of like quality things with the game.
Yeah, please.
So I think one of the issues, like, so the game probably wasn't making much money because they weren't selling many microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
But your microtransactions were wonder weapons that basically just were raw weapons with updated stats, and then like the Blood of the Dead pack-a-punch camo, you know, like that magma camo.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not satisfying as a wonder weapon.
No, I agree.
Like, so why would you expect me to buy that?
Exactly.
I think I think they really should have rethought what they were doing for microtransactions. I think one of the biggest things they should have been selling was like revive tokens. Run out of quick revives, buy a token to come back to life. That's one thing they should have been selling.
Sure.
I also think they should have been, and people won't like this, but like if you're gonna sell wonder weapons, sell thunder guns and ray gun, or not ray guns, but sell thunder guns and wonder wafts and magma gats. Like actual, or better idea. Put those in the box, but then create unique wonder weapons that then you can sell.
Yeah, I think the better play would be to get these crazy, wacky other wonder weapons that we would see in Mr. Dalek JD gameplay being like, the best wonder weapon is the Quackatron 10,000. We're like, what the fuck is this nonsense? And then you see it and it wrecks, and it's like, oh, well, that gets 500,000 views on a Dalek video. People are going to want to try and pick up the best wonder weapon. Oh, I can get it for 300 COD points. Oh, that's just 100 COD points more than a $5. So I got to upgrade to the $10 buy into the COD points. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. That's how their system would be more effective. It's disgusting, but it's what they should be doing to make money.
It's not disgusting.
The idea of buying wonder weapons, I don't.
Fuck you, no, Mister. I hate microtransactions. That's not disgusting. What would be disgusting?
Oh God, it gets worse.
A box. Yeah, this is what would be disgusting is if it was loot crate style.
Oh yes, to get it out of a loot crate.
Yeah,
sure.
Like if they put the wonder waff in a loot crate and that was the only way to get it, that would be disgusting. What wouldn't be an issue is if I could just straight up pay $5 for the wonder waff. Do I want that? And that's a lot of money. I just threw out a number. If I could pay $2 for a wonder waff, that is 1,000,000 times better, and I wouldn't even be mad about that because I know that the opposite side of that coin is me spending $15 on a loot crate to get 30 skins I don't want and one wonder waff.
You're right. The level of disgusting.
I think it's really unfair to call that disgusting if it's just a straight.
It makes me feel gross. That type of.
I know
but
you don't
it's
like.
not as disgusting as a loot box. You're
very anti microtransaction. But I think it's totally unfair.
I'd say I'm anti-predatory microtransactions.
But that's not predatory. Like just a straight up purchase is absolutely not predatory. You got to support the game somehow. Would you rather
but you're getting an advantage. You're getting a distinct advantage to get a weapon that plays much better. And you're having a better experience. You're gonna have more fun that way. Shit, we love putting God mode on and just getting all the tools.
But the game is also free.
True.
The game's got to make money somehow.
True. And
so it's like here pick your poison, Reed.
No, I agree.
Do you want a subscription? Do you want loot crates, or do you want purchasable upgrades?
Exactly. You're going down a slippery slope, and each of those make me nervous. And then in the context of Call of Duty Mobile, by far the best choice would be single purchase of weapons, and you know what you're getting.
But I feel like
I was thinking in the context of the AAA release of the next Call of Duty 5 installment. That's where that stuff makes me uncomfortable. This
is in the context of a free mobile game.
That's very different. That's very different. I was thinking in the wrong context.
Sometimes I feel like you could be antiquated in your thinking. Like I think you're very much caught in this. I'm paying $60 for the game, and that's the only way that I will support a game. Because it's like the game is free.
But
like the conversation was we were never talking about the $60 AAA release. This whole conversation we were talking about
COD Mobile. Sure.
So you gotta remember the framing of this.
Yes. I don't think subscriptions are all that bad either, depending on the service. And games as a service is one of those things that is a difficult sell to me at this point in time because developers have not proven their capability to give a proper service over long durations of time. But again, COD Mobile is different.
You have no problem purchasing Netflix or Disney Plus
because those services have proved to work as I want them to and improve over a long duration of time. Black Ops 4 was supposed to be the most updated game ever.
Games have. Yeah, but Black Ops 4 was also a one-time $60 purchase. Black Ops 4 was never a game as a service.
Fair.
Yeah, of course. Like in the same way that so many mobile apps you bought for 99 cents went unupdated for years, because that is 99-cent purchases don't support the game for its lifetime. You cannot consider Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4 was failed to be a game that would last years when it was priced as $60.
True, but they were trying to sell it as a games as a service in the sense of the pass.
Yeah, and that was the fault of Charika's marketing. But like games that actually games that you paid a subscription price for, you pay $5.99 a month for, have proven to work.
World of Warcraft is one of them, even though they shut down the servers and then brought them back, or is that a different game?
Yeah.
Or a different version of Warcraft?
But this has absolutely been proven to work as a system. It's like
but is it a quality system? It depends.
I think absolutely so.
Fallout 76 doesn't prove that. Elder Scrolls Online is debatable. I mean,
the thing about these games though is if you're paying a consistent however much a month, it's in the same way that like news articles. If a company that's making if a news website switches to a subscription service, they're no longer making articles based off of clickbait. They're making articles based off of sustained readership. And if I'm making a game that is subscription based, I'm thinking in terms of sustained quality and making sure my subscription base is happy. And I'm doing everything I can to please them rather than what would be like microtransactions.
See, but I think that's exactly where the line is drawn, where I think some games do fit exactly what you're saying, while others do that and then continue to nickel and dime and continue to try and figure out more ways to get their whales. Which again,
I don't think so though, because I don't think this has been done on a AAA scale yet.
Subscription service, games as a service?
Yeah, on a console. I don't think it's quite been done on a console level.
I don't know about that. I mean,
because you keep pointing. Well, you point to like $60 games and then say, well, this game didn't do it, so it didn't work. It's like,
well, Elder Scrolls Online is a free game, free to play. And that originally it started out as a $60 purchase, and they said no, it's free. And then if you want the special bonuses, you pay an extra tier, but it's free to play, or you pay a service per month, and then they have extra...
But I'm not talking about. I'm talking about a game that's not free to play.
They're saying Final Fantasy, oh god, XIV 14, Destiny 2, Fallout 76 isn't monthly. There is a subscription plan you can pay for Fallout 76.
I'm talking about a game. I'm talking about a game that is purely just subscription based, like not free to play, not a $60 fee, but a game that like I need to pay $5 a month, and that's the only way I'm playing. I don't think that's been done. I don't think that's been done on a.
Oh, for God's sakes, Escape. Not you. I'm talking to the gameplay. Started pooping.
I don't think that's been done on a AAA scale for a console game yet.
Yeah. So Elder Scrolls Online is not free. I have no idea what EORZEA is, and they keep saying Final Fantasy 14 exactly is what you're describing. Xbox Game Pass, which has had great success, though. That would be in favor of John's argument of it being working.
Like I think you got to think of it like clickbait. You know, clickbait is like the microtransaction of the journalism world, where it's a very not it's a habit that's not respected by the industry, and it's almost predatory in a way. But it brings in money, so they do it. You know, it's like microtransactions are predatory, but it brings in money, so we're going to do it. And the way you fight that is going subscription-based, where you're no longer worrying about getting clicks, you're worrying about quality. You're no longer worrying about selling 1 million gobblegums, you're worried about sustaining a player base.
I think a very popular title like a Call of Duty hasn't tested those waters. I think minor titles might have tested those waters on the consoles, and there might be examples to point to, but I'm seeing where you're coming from. I'm starting to see your point here.
It's because
I just don't believe they won't be predatory still, though. I mean, they continue to push that in their $60 models, in their free-to-play models, so why would there be incentive to stop?
Because free-to-play is a completely different model. Free-to-play is inherently predatory.
Yes, I agree.
Free-to-play is by nature predatory. It's like free-to-play is like gambling. Or not like gambling, but it's like giving away free samples and then hoping that people are hooked on those free samples.
You're talking about drug dealing, John.
No, I know. But I'm just trying to.
I know, but I think it's funny.
No, you know what it is? It's like modern gambling companies where they'll say like, okay, if you use our sports betting website, we'll give you your first bets free, you know,
Yes.
and then you're stuck gambling because you're addicted now. Like free to play is predatory in that nature, but subscription is not.
I'm trying to see if there are any titles we can get a good I guess, PlayStation, the PlayStation Pass, PlayStation Now, like stuff you get free games every month, or you can access a library every month.
That's along the right idea.
Yeah, it makes more sense from the console's perspective, but not from the developers or the publishers. Do you think we're going to go in an era where, you know how Xbox trying to have their pass and their service, and PlayStation's trying to have their service, Nintendo has their service? Do publishers end up getting their own service, just like how cable got split into streaming services? Then every Disney, DC, Marvel, everyone had to have their own different streaming. I think DC Marvel's the same thing, but everyone started CBS, Fox. They all have their own streaming services. Do developers, major publishers that have enough games underneath them, start investing in their own streaming service models like Epic Games ended up doing?
No, I don't think so, because I think it'll be too platform dependent.
Okay.
So the thought process, my thought here is that with streaming, I can stream Disney Plus on a number of devices. I can do it on my phone, my laptop, my TV, my tablet.
Mm-hmm.
But I still need a console to play games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what you end up getting is more like what Google's doing with whatever it's called.
Stadia. It's bombing horribly right now because they didn't put enough money in it. That's all it was. There's no incentive for developers to release on Stadia. So that's why it's bombing.
I think you end up going more in line with that because you still need something to play the games. Like games can't just be played ubiquitously on every device.
Yes.
So, but it wouldn't shock me if Activision tried something like that. I don't think it's impossible, but I think we see it more on the console end than we do the developer end. Especially because also then that if the whole industry moved towards that, I think that kills indie developers. Because then where do they exist in that realm?
Right. I can't find any games. I'm just Googling this around. I can't find specific games.
I don't think
all services. It's all EA services, GameFly, Xbox One Pass, PlayStation Now, One Play. I can't get a straight World of Warcraft answer here. There's Warcraft, StarCraft used to have a subscription. Does that have a but again, you're hitting all on PC. You're not talking about the console releases. And then you get into the free to play. Club Penguin. Did that come back? Did it close?
Yeah. It is back.
Oh my gosh. I need a donkey video.
No, but yeah, so my thing is I don't think it's actually been given a fair shake yet. And I think it gets a bad rap because of how predatory free to play and microtransactions in $60 AAA titles can be.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm getting at here. I think you kind of got to rethink your approach
bias.
to it.
My initial I have a huge bias because I feel that I've experienced so many free to play predatory models and even $60 predatory models that I am very apprehensive when I hear these type of ideas. But the way you phrase it, if genuinely that is what the developers are trying to do, that is a much better system for everybody.
Because
that's what Adobe Premiere and the Adobe Suite became. I think that's a great idea. But is there the maturity in the gaming industry to do that?
I think there is, but only because the model forces developers to be mature. Because so if let's say Call of Duty is now you pay $5 a month for the Call of Duty pass, and that Call of Duty pass gives you access to the latest Call of Duty for free, new DLC, everything. There are no microtransactions. Everything is just available. There's new stuff all the time. If that's the world we live in, and then all of a sudden Activision started burning down bridges, then they see their subscription numbers drop. And then their subscription numbers drop, which means they're bringing in less money, which then means they have less resources, which then it's a vicious cycle. So you have to your incentive is to maintain that player base and grow it, never see it shrink. And the way you would lose it is by being an immature developer.
Interesting.
it gives power to the. It takes away power from, say, like whales that are willing to spend $10,000 on a single game.
Yeah,
And puts it in the hands of just your average consumer.
it's an interesting proposition. It certainly is, and I think this is a fascinating conversation. I'm really happy we went down this hole because it's helped me try and expand my perspective as well. Everybody keeps saying Final Fantasy 14. There is an online. I've Googled it, and Final Fantasy XIV online. Final Fantasy, it's 14, right? I can read Roman numerals. I hope was a massive multiplayer online, so MMO, role-playing game for Microsoft Windows personal computers, developed and published by Square Enix. Yeah, I expected as much in 2010. And the 14th entry in the main Final Fantasy series, and the second MMORPG in the series after Final Fantasy. Okay, let's keep reading this for a second.
And
MMOs have been around forever. That's why I didn't like Destiny, because it felt like an MMO, but it's more a MOBA because it's not as massive multiplayer online.
But I don't think this idea is limited to just MMOs.
I don't think so either.
Like,
but
I don't think this idea should be.
That's the easiest model. That's the model that is proven to work. Is an MMO model.
Like, we kind of already do it with zombies.
Yes, we do.
Like, think of it like we are guys that don't really care about the multiplayer in the way we care about zombies, but we pay essentially. If we imagine DLC costs $15 and we get it every 3 months, we essentially pay $5 a month for zombies. We already do it. So it's already a little bit there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It just, what's the Rick and Morty thing? That sounds like slavery with extra steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're basically there with extra steps. I can't find the stupid service model. Reception wasn't good. Post-release, I think they fixed it a bit. Could not fully mend the game. Legacy, poor reception impact on Square Enix. Company reduces projected income for the year. Whoa, what? Among other reasons, the company reduces projected income for the year by 90%? I need a citation on that. That's insane. In 2010. Holy God, would Square Enix be crying. Could you imagine if for a that's in the year? Income for the year? Could you imagine if Activision had a drop of 90% projections in their income for the year after releasing a game? Holy shoot. That would be, their stock would drop so fast. My God.
Yeah. But I know that a lot of this conversation came from COD Mobile.
It did.
I still want to keep talking about that a little.
All right, then let me wrap up with what Newbie just DM'd me. It's a subscription model. You can buy the game, then go to level 35, but you can't progress further without paying the $12.99 a month subscription fee. Okay, there you go. So there is precedence for it, and potentially Final Fantasy 14 has predatory models, but it's also coming from Square Enix, which has been a company that's been pretty clean in the Kingdom Hearts section. So I don't know. Get back to COD Mobile.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to touch on with COD Mobile is like ways to improve it. I feel like the kind of mission mode where you end up fighting a boss is like kind of flawed.
Okay.
And it felt like it didn't, like, they were trying to do something different. It just felt very bland, where it's like, we're going to play for 15 rounds and then fight a boss.
Sure.
And then that boss was generally the same boss every time.
Sure.
Like, I knew there were all these different bosses, but I kept getting the same one. I'd get that scorpion thing.
Yeah.
So that would kill replayability. And then even then, that was on like a 1 hour timer. And I felt like a 1 hour timer was never enough because that boss was such a tank and the zombies became tanks. And you had the Pack-a-Punch to to increase your damage, but that was only available in Noct, which never actually formally released.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not helping. I feel like they really hindered themselves with the timer, and it not only rippled through to like just basic survival mode, but also then affected the the mission mode.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like they have these ideas to improve the game, like including Pack-a-Punch, but then don't release it. It's like, why? What are you thinking?
Yeah.
It just seems like they're doing so much right, yet just weren't also doing things, like just weren't thinking.
Or were they not committed? Maybe they just weren't fully committed to the mode.
Yeah.
Like it was just
It felt
again
like
they're testing it.
It was weird because in some instances you feel like they were giving it like their all.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing a lot of little things, adding Easter eggs, new areas, combining maps in ways that are creative, and then just stumbling over stupid things.
Yeah.
It does feel a little bit like a lack of commitment to the project as a whole, which could come to resource. I'd be interested to know how big their team was.
Yeah. I mean, that was the key to Black Ops 4, and that's completely changed my perspective on how Zombies is developed. It is something that clearly can't exist on a small team and scope anymore, and so maybe that hit the COD mobile team as well when they needed to pull the bodies off that. Maybe it was down to 2 guys, and 2 guys are like, I'm not taking on this load. This is stupid. No, I'm good. We can put this on the shelf until everyone's done working on what they need to.
But that was kind of my final thoughts on COD Mobile. It feels a little bit half-baked now in hindsight that we're not getting any more of it.
Right.
Like,
it's not growing.
Like, when we felt like it was going to be here for a while, we were much more forgiving of it. And we were much like, okay, yeah, the zombies kind of become...
It's a good start.
Damage. The zombies become damage sponges, but there's a pack-a-punch coming in the next map, so that solves that issue.
Mm-hmm.
But then we'd never get that next map. And then I almost wonder, like, why can't they just keep the game available to play?
Exactly. That's what's the strangest thing. It's like, why are you removing it entirely? Why just ditch the whole mode? Treyarch didn't undo the one hard gauntlet they got out. They nixed hard gauntlets, but we still have one hard gauntlet in the game. So it's weird. There's a weird feeling amongst the entirety of this announcement, like, in the zombie mode.
How much resources does it take to keep the Shinonuma server running?
I don't know.
Now, is it really that much? I feel like it can't be.
I don't know. So I don't know what the cost is. I couldn't tell you.
I'm disappointed COD Mobile's gone.
Yeah.
I hope it comes back.
Yeah.
Or I hope it gets rebranded into its own thing.
That might be the smarter move, and especially like we said, charge a premium, and that's what led us down the whole premium talk.
Yeah.
But yeah. Again, it's still for the price tag and for the little experience for the price of free. I got to have a fun experience on Call of Duty Mobile Zombies. So, like your point, well met and well made is it's a free experience. They got to make their money somehow. Agreed.
Yeah. Do you want to do topic time?
Absolutely. I'd love to do topic time, then donations.
Topic time.
Topic time. Remember, you can submit your topic to Topic Time if you sign up for the Patreon in the description down below. Again, we're trying to build everyone back up after we atomic bombed it. We nuked it. So join us, and you can win some stuff too. Links in the description.
So before we do the topic time, we'll first give away the Quick Revive jug or Quick Revive bottle.
Let's do it.
So I got the random number generator
All right
here. Number 7.
Ooh, lucky 7s.
Lucky 7 is Chrissy B.
Chrissy B? Congratulations.
Down right there. Chrissy B.
The Super Smash Brothers, congratulations.
So we'll pull this one out right there. Now we'll put in Speed Cola.
Ooh, buddy.
Where's green? There it is. Yeah, so Chrissy, so far we have Orange Man from who's winning Jug. Quick Revive will be going to Chrissy B, and it's not too late to get in on the final drawing that we'll do at the very, very end of the show to get Speed Cola. A link will be in the description of the Patreon. In the meantime, we'll go over some of the topic time questions. Hello, gents. This is from Mr. Burger.
Okay.
Longtime Spotify listener to the show. Just want to say good evening to both of you. My first show as a patron.
Yay!
Only podcast I listen to. Have a fantastic night, lads. Thank you, Mr.
Oh, that's so nice. So wonderful. Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
Oh,
we appreciate it.
Dope.
Dixelby Flip says, this is more to do with Reed's episode of the mainframe instead of Zombroz, but I'd still like to hear some opinions.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of inspiration I can get from indie games and rogue titles, and roguelites. What are roguelites for you?
I don't know. Roguelites?
Roguelites? Maybe like small developer teams. I don't know. Games like Binding of Isaac, Risk of Rain, Darkness of Dungeons are filled to the brim with rewards that are simple for things like completing a room without taking damage or completing areas quickly. These aren't planned rewards either. They're usually characters, modifiers, increased odds of completing odds of getting better items, I mean, it's not like they haven't done it with perma perks in BO2. You get rewards for being accurate, more points of damage. If you weren't particularly good for being rewarded with, if you weren't particularly good, you get rewarded with free jug. You get the star. I think there's so much room to explore in-game rewards. You could, for example, load into 9 if you manage to survive 10 rounds without being hit. The next time you do, you load up and you start with the shotgun instead of the pistol. Or maybe you go 20 rounds without going down and get extra downs to help keep the high rounds as more tests of skill rather than endurance. Ultimately, I think the reason we don't see rewards like this is due to the inherent bureaucratic nature of AAA games. I would assume, just like every idea they need to be run by Activision, it might impact sales of their Elixir purchases or something along those lines. That was a paragraph right there.
Wonderful.
Well.
Good question, and I like the feedback and the well thought out process of it all. You know what, something's been hitting me recently? Making those mainframe videos, especially when I make my points, people will just start arguing other things and just completely ignore what the point being made was, and I'll be like, okay, sure, you made a statement, but that has nothing to do with the video. I'm not going to even argue or acknowledge this. Okay,
Dude,
yeah.
I had that in my. I made a video based off of our discussion of like zombie maps being difficult based off of probability. Like,
yes.
that? Nobody made a comment on my actual idea of like statistically proving what was the hardest zombies map. Everybody just gave their opinion.
Yeah, that happens a lot, and that's why earlier in the stream I also removed a comment when they're just like, this equals garbage. I'm like, that I'm not mad about that. I don't want to deal with all the people that get in these angry flame wars about an opinion. It's an opinion. You're not going to mathematically prove something, so just it's just stoking the flames. Yeah. I was watching.
That's what I was trying to do, but nobody even touched on that. Everybody, it wasn't like people weren't being like mean or like opinionated. People were just being like, "Oh, I think Transit is the hardest map," or "I think Die Rise is the hardest."
Nice.
Map. Nobody was like, "John, you're using way too much math," or "John, I think your idea is flawed for this reason," or "John, that was an interesting way to think about zombies." No, it was just, I think this map was hard.
Well, I want to point out something. I watched a review today. It was about Sly Cooper, and the guy was giving some harsh criticisms because people requested you should play through the Sly Cooper games, play through 1 through 4, and, he gives his review as he goes through each one. And some of the things he absolutely hated, I found, some of the things that were sort of charming back in the day, and then that gives me this perspective of like, no, you're never going to please everybody. And BO4 might have suffered from trying to please everybody. And when he gives that in his paragraph, when he's talking about how Black Ops 2 gives rewards for being bad, I can already hear people being like, oh, these crutch rewards, those things that are crutches. And then you have the other way of like, people are going to complain no matter what. So I think they just got to go for it. Whatever they got to do, go for it. And I think rewarding players is it should be a good proposition for the game. It should be good for everybody that you're getting rewarded for playing the game with hopefully substantial and meaningful rewards. That's the hope.
I think like skilled and knowledgeable players should get rewarded.
Yeah.
I think perma perks did that in some sense. So I like this idea of him suggesting kind of bringing back perma perks. I think make it more noticeable because some of them were very like
subtle.
We think something's happening, like a little too subtle.
Agreed.
But I hadn't thought about perma perks in a while.
I think they're great. Same with the modifiers and the mask. I think the masks are terrific.
They never felt too powerful either.
No,
I mean the ray gun one was, but it was also very limited in skill.
See, that's what starts to get into the problem I have, and a future mainframe episode might come in about this. Like, it was what was the term I was using? It was risk, and everything you do in BO4 doesn't have the same weight as something you do in World at War, especially once you get the shield, right? And I even threw out crutch.
Or when you get the shield, or the fact that you have your
specialist weapon at you at all times when you start, and you have your MOG upgraded, or your Strife all the way with all of its things unlocked. As soon as you get in the game, the risks aren't there that might also play into the many issues into BO4 that lose that excitement. Why? Someone made a really good comment on one of the videos that why did I never feel the need to level up in zombies before? Why did I never feel the need to do this when I did play it for over 5 years from World at War to BO1, and I played a bunch of maps, and I played the hell out of those maps? I never felt like I needed what I need in the new maps where it's this constant stimulation. Now, there could be the argument that, you got older, you got bored, and it's not, you're going to grow out of this, right? It's just as you get older, they're not as fun as they used to be. There's a bit of that to it, but I do think there is something to the idea of how risky the feedback loop is that also got into the excitement of the game. Am I going to make this juke? I always, in BO4, almost always. If I have a shield, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to get through it. Got Dying Wish. Nothing to worry about. Or not the same in World at War. Go ahead, sorry.
I got Dying Wish, or I've got a specialist that if I'm low on health, I can just pop, and then every zombie around me is going to die. You know, and I don't need to worry about wasting that specialist because I know it's just going to recharge in 5 minutes, or if I get those drops, the full powers.
So
that'd be interesting if they limited your specialists. Maybe you only got like 2 per game, or the higher rank you were, the more you got.
That's an interesting idea.
Like so for each level you get 1 additional specialist. So if you're like level like 35, you have a fuck ton.
That's an interesting way of rewarding it. I like it. I don't like the time.
Or you got a token. Imagine this: you got a token, and that token could be spent on a number of different things.
Okay.
It could be spent on a different starting weapon, or it could be spent on an additional specialist. So you'll get 35 tokens by the time you reach, let's say, the max level of 35. And I could either invest that into 35 specialists, or 5 different starting weapons and 30 specialists.
Or you could also just have starting weapons cost 5 apiece. You know, type of stuff. They're just expensive, so you don't even have to do that much.
And it'd be more than just specialists and starting weapons.
Yes, of course.
But that then gives you an incentive to rank up, and it also limits this. Like, I essentially have unlimited specialists, and I can use that to prevent myself from going down. Because I think that was one of the biggest crutches that Black Ops 4 threw at you.
Sure.
It was a get out of jail free card.
On top of all the other get out of jail free cards you had at your disposal. Yeah. The shield itself.
That one felt like the most blatant though, because it would recharge almost every round.
Halfway between the round multiple times sometimes.
Yeah. And you would get them through drops, and then sometimes they were always like instant kills.
I do want Smart Guy. He said he disagreed with a lot of my points in one of my recent videos. So I would be curious, Smart, if you could elaborate a little bit. Just my curiosity has finally won me over on this. Because Smart definitely represents the top 1% of the 1% of the 1% of skilled players. So his opinion is going to be vastly different from what he enjoys from middle ground to all sorts of different players on the spectrum. So specifically, if you remember what you disagree with, Smart, I would be curious to know about that. All right, I could talk about this for days, but let's keep going.
Captain Murphy says, enjoying the show with a cup from my zombroz mug.
Hey.
Now that I've beaten Origins, I've been playing nonstop and improving to get better.
Dope.
Is there a rhyme or reason to the order that the robots appear, where you place the stabs in their head? I always ended up waiting a long time.
Nope.
It's Black Ops 3, so I can't use the glitch. No, I think it is just random.
Black Ops 2, you can use the glitch, so I would just use the glitch if you can. But
yeah, let's see. Black Ops 3, you can't.
BO3, you're just screwed, and that's what was the biggest concern at ZWC, was that the RNG was going to screw teams out of being able to play, and that's one of the most frustrating parts about Origin speedruns is the RNG of the robots kill the run.
Yeah. Next one, Power Outa says, there's rumors that the next COD game might not have zombies. What are your thoughts on the possibility of this?
See, I think it's unlikely. It would shock me at first. I'd be like wide-eyed. I'd be like, shit, I got to go apply for a job again and continue and really get one to respond back to me. But in the same breath, it would be understandable after what happened to BO4, how things got slashed and how things got pulled from the budget. It's not unheard of. That wouldn't be like, oh my God, never would I have imagined this. But it would be like, oh, damn. But then again, it took a lot of bravery for the bravery, or at least a lot of... They pushed really hard to slide it into World at War, right? And they completely changed COD. And COD was never zombies. Well, I mean, it's been 10 years, John. Maybe it's time that COD is no longer zombies and it becomes the next thing. Like, that is reasonable.
Yeah, I don't see them doing it, though.
Yeah, not
although
yet.
It could explain the departure of Jason if it did.
Yeah.
But I don't think one bad year and they pull the plug.
No, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
They're talking about skill trees in chat. A multitude of people have brought that up. I don't know if skill trees Because now we're making it an RPG into Call of Duty Zombies. Do we transform Call of Duty Zombies into an RPG? Do people want to care about skill trees and the best way to optimize how you play Call of Duty with multiple different builds you can make? That's almost like Extinction. You could choose medic or this one or that.
I mean, there's no reason why you can't borrow elements. I mean, Call of Duty took the multiplayer shooter, borrowed elements of RPGs, and then really redefined the genre. COD 4 did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
A lot of those elements did not exist in a lot of those RPG elements did not exist in multiplayer shooters until Call of Duty did that.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Magna Collider 15 says, John Reed, if Black Ops 5 kicks off great with gameplay and some story points to get intriguing, Black Ops 3's marvelous season was, is there a chance we'd see whiteboards and Johnny J 25 Q&As returning and coming out of retirement?
The whiteboard's only needed if it's something's too hard to convey inside an editing program.
The Q&As are retired, and they will remain retired. The show just got difficult to produce because I would literally get 1,000 comments and none of them would be good enough for the show. They had either been already answered or just not really worth talking about.
Yes, Raygun Project, I did get your email. I grazed it over and I saw that you had the reference to something I think I did see about how they were talking about how you get past opinions, and I was going to check that out. Since I didn't check it out, I wasn't going to make an argument about how you can objectively, which I still find this hard to say, objectively prove certain game development processes and implementations are bad compared to others. Which I guess, some have to be bad. If the game's broken, it's bad, right? But then, is it? If someone finds how broken it is to be fun, that's the problem with a game versus a service. If Adobe Premiere isn't working, objectively, it's bad. But if a video game's not working, it's almost like a bad movie, depending on how the consumer takes it. I don't know. I'll check it out, Raygun Project. I'm not ignoring you. I just wanted to let you know I haven't had time to get into it just yet.
Cheese Puff says, hey gents, how are you doing tonight? I've heard the argument that Zombies' main issue is that it adheres too much to its story and it's getting in the way of gameplay and being fun. In my opinion, the story was the main driving force, even in Black Ops 3, where fans were getting fatigued already from several years of Zombies. Thoughts? Do we think the story is getting in the way of the gameplay?
I do. I certainly do, because I think BO4 broke the maps into all the remakes because it had to follow the story that they were writing. I think it dictated a lot of the beats of maps they had to hit because they had to hit these certain story elements. And then the gameplay has suffered in a way that is you don't see in World at War or BO1, where the story was just sort of, it was the intrigue. It is what pushed a lot of people forward. But back then in World at War to BO1, it was very much like, this is just fun. Sit down, playing fun. And that's what got people into it. The whole office was staying late, as the developer said, just to play this wacky mode. Their gameplay was definitely the precedence, and I think a lot of gameplay has been sacrificed for the sake of story, because it got so big. It got big in Black Ops 3.
I disagree. I think the story bends itself to the gameplay in a way that I don't think we had remakes in Black Ops 4 because the story dictated it. I think that's just what they wanted to do. I think they wanted their original maps to be chaos and they wanted their remakes to be ether. Then they just warped the story to fit that. Or they kind of decided that and wrote they had that idea and then wrote the story to go along with it. I don't see any reason why Mob of the Dead or Blood of the Dead and Alpha Omega couldn't have happened in TOG, couldn't have happened in unique locations, and then just write the story around that. And in addition to that, I also think when they're adding in new features, they either don't have to give a story explanation for it or can just make one up. They can create new wonder weapons and just do whatever they want with the story behind it. I think a lot of the times the story bends itself to match the gameplay.
I think that was true for every game up until BO4. I feel like it was a different experience in BO4. It felt like, and again, this is feelings and impressions. So if they really want to go to a setting, they can make up whatever excuse they want. Well, I agree, but see, this is where I think the writers really wanted to do what they wanted to do, and I bet other developers certainly didn't want to go back. This is just what I perceived, I think Jason Craig and the writers had what they wanted. They wanted to do something, and they said, this is happening. And I feel like a lot of the gameplay did bend to do that. And
but I also think there's a little bit of like parallel processing going on where it's like we want to revisit these old locations.
Yeah, like Mob seems like he had to go back to Mob. He wanted to go back to Mob. That was a big deal, especially because of the community.
Mob feels very story driven. But like I don't think revisiting, for example, Call of the Dead was very story driven.
I agree.
In fact, a lot of the reasons why I thought they could revisit Call of the Dead, they didn't. You know, like they definitely diverged from some of the things that made Call of the Dead previously important. So, I do think that they can kind of, if they really want to, they can. And I think they had decided in the process that they want to remake these maps. And this is kind of how we want the story to go. Like, I think both things were going on at the same time.
Do you
like
think
Jason
there's a resource thing, though, where they're just like, it's easier if we can port the maps over from what we've already worked on?
I think a little bit, yeah. I think
that's another thing that impacts why I think story was driving. It's like, we already got these maps. We can probably upgrade them in the engine. You know, it's still going to be work, but it's less work from a map from scratch.
But I think they also got maybe kind of intrigued by the idea of revisiting and reimagining maps.
Sure.
Like, I think they really liked it, and they liked this idea, and they wanted to keep doing it.
I could easily see that. I don't
and
know.
They were like, yeah, we get to revisit these old maps and really make them better with Ether, and then we can wrap up the Ether storyline by revisiting these old maps, almost like a tour of like memories.
Sure. And
then we can get our fix of new and creative with Chaos.
Exactly. You know? I very much think that's a mentality that could have been.
They could have also just decided that, we don't want to revisit new places, so let's just rework the story. Like, doesn't TOG have to happen to Call of the Dead? I don't think so. Especially when you consider that a lot of the important story stuff happened in parts of Call of the Dead that didn't exist prior. Just take that whole mountaintop lab and make that its own map in a different map.
I agree. And Chad brought up like Alpha Omega could just be a random Broken Arrow place if they wanted to be. It didn't have to be Nuketown.
They could have used the Broken Arrow place, I think, from the story or from the comics.
Yeah. But why didn't they then?
Because they wanted to remake maps.
Yeah.
Like, I think from a developer perspective, they decided they wanted to do that, and then from a writing perspective, like I think there was a bit of synergy on both fronts.
There had to be.
Like, I think from a developer's perspective, they're like, yeah, I want to go back, and they also were like, from a writer's perspective, I want to go back.
Hi, Tim. And I think resources is one of the biggest arguments. I mean, we've hit on that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again to nauseum. Resources dictated everything for zombies in BO4, and it's probably just because remakes are easier to make.
Yeah. So that wraps it up for topic time. What do you got on the donor front?
Let me get them up. In the meantime, we can say hello to Tim, who's killing it. Tim, you were on Trending. I had to DM Johnny J because you were on Gaming Trending. My guy, I knew you were doing great. I was proud he was doing great. But trending great? Hot damn. Hot damn. I think that's pretty freaking dope.
I'm not trending, but I do consider myself the...
Oh no, you froze right before the joke got off. Now it's just awkward. You froze just before the joke got off.
Yeah, it keeps dropping.
That's
this is like the third time it's happened on the show that I do consider myself the comeback kid because after coming back to a dead channel, I've got another video right now going semi-viral. My round 2 billion video with the mod menu. So I am YouTube's comeback kid. All bow before me, but I'm not good enough to go on trending.
Yes, I'll send you the link. You said you didn't know. I'll send you the image I sent John. Yeah, I was just checking up on you, Tim. I was like, oh, look at what's Tim up to. Oh, he's doing great. I'm so happy. What? Oh, Noah doesn't get on here. He has in the past, but like when you see that, you're like, this is zombies on trending. It feels weird to me. I'm not used to our
anybody can get on trending, but can you be a comeback kid, Reed? No, I'm just teasing.
Yeah, I know. Elements donated $5 through chat. Kind of strange that Transit was fully completed in COD Mobile before the game came out, yet we got Shino Numa and Nock before it. Good point. I forgot about that.
Say that again?
Transit was done in COD Mobile, remember? There was footage of Transit being completed. I completely forgot.
Like, why do they have all this shit and then it just sits there on the cutting room floor? I don't get it. Like, just release it. It fucking works on the test servers. Why can't you put it on the main server? I would love to get a COD mobile developer on the show.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's fascinating. That's an excellent point. Thank you for pointing that out, Element. Mr. Drown returns. Happy daylight savings time, gentlemen. Hope all is well. These late night Zombroz streams have a different vibe to them, which I'm always a fan of. Stay safe, stay productive, have a good day. Thank you so much, Mr. Drown. Always wonderful to see you here each and every week. I sincerely appreciate it, and you too. You rock. CJ donated $9.99 through Super Chat. What up, boys? My 2-month study abroad to Ireland was canceled, so now I'm back on campus getting sad drunk and listening to Zombroz. This podcast has always been a pleasure to tune into. Cheers. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Getting drunk fits in with going to Ireland.
That's oof.
Culturally, it works.
I guess, yeah. But yeah, that is it's crazy. Coronavirus, man. That is hitting the world hard as can be. And I heard a lot of things were getting canceled. Study abroad programs. I heard South by Southwest got canceled. Did you hear that announcement?
Oh yeah, a lot of airlines are canceling a lot of stuff.
No, South by Southwest event, like Austin, Texas.
For some reason, I thought you meant like Southwest Airlines.
No.
No. Yeah, no, I did actually see that South by Southwest got canceled.
Yeah.
A lot of sporting events are happening in empty stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just playing the games, but not letting fans in.
It's weird. It's really weird. People not shaking hands, good. People being more hygiene makes my world way better. I've become a germaphobe because of all my stomach problems over the past, since it got worse in October. My entire family's like, Reed, you were ridiculous how clean you are. Now everyone's just like me. It's great. They wash their hands like 14, 15 times a day. I don't even feel weird anymore.
The world is bending to your standards.
All right. Q-Man donated $10. All right, Reed, 2 questions. First, should Trev continue the Chaos story? Personally, yes, I very much enjoyed it. When you tell it in order, I think it's a fun story. And I like how there's actually a direction, and Alistair and the evil, the Order aren't really the bad guys. The Order is the bad guys, but they're like the whatever bad guys. The Medusa's interesting. And the Library of Alexandria, there's a lot of fun that could be had there. So I'd like to see more of them. And given where they started, I feel like the Chaos has a lot of potential to be successful compared to where we started in the original Ether storyline. And what was the second question? And if so, how would you have it continue? And the second is, that's 3 questions. You sneak it in 3. So you think DLC 5 will happen on BO4, BO5? We said this weeks before. It's not going to release for BO4. That'd be crazy. BO5 probably has a pre-order DLC. Would make sense for Zombie Chronicles 2 or whatnot. And if they continue it, yeah, BO4's done. That would surprise me if they updated BO4. That would truly surprise me. Mm-hmm. If they continue it, Library of Alexandria, play with another mythos, maybe the Egyptian mythos, whatever you need to do. Wherever the Library of Alexandria could have been. I think that was also Middle Eastern countries. Was rumored that the Mongols burned down the library that was the equivalent of the Library of Alexandria and certain mythos and historical texts. Regardless, I just continue to play with history. Mm-hmm. Oh, fanboys about something. Okay. Anyway, next one is James McFly quietly donates £25. No question. That's a huge currency bump. Thank you very much, James, for supporting the show. That's super generous. I'm blown away. The Oppression. That's the Oppression's donating a big $15. That's a huge amount of money. But the name, The Oppression. Damn. The Oppression says, first time being able to catch the stream in a while, but just wanted to stop by and say I love the podcast. You guys make my daily train commute to work entertaining. What is both of your all-time favorite Easter eggs and why? Probably DE and Ancient Evil. Those are the first 2 I decided to speedrun because I just love how fun they are to complete and the flow of them. DE has incredible flow to its Easter egg. I can't believe I picked it up and I was completing it in less than 50 minutes. It flows. And it's fun. What about you, John? Do you have a particular Easter egg you like? Sharpshooter.
Favorite
Buried.
No. Buried Easter eggs hard because I don't do them enough to like. I was trying to see if I can come up with like a little one.
Flytrap's
like,
great.
I was trying to think away from like big main quest Easter eggs and make like little small ones.
Oh, there's tons of great small ones.
Yeah, but I'm having trouble coming to mind. But I think I just want to make the comment that I think we get too carried away in like great big Easter egg quests and don't think enough about like the little ones that slip into games, like fun stuff like that. We want to think about like golden sporks and stuff.
How about even the monkey at Chang? That's what jumps to my head as you're describing something that's just way out there, way under the radar.
The monkey?
Yeah, so in the original...
Oh, yeah, the
rocket.
monkey's in the rocket. Yeah. That's a great one. Actually,
and then it got remastered into something, and then clearer detail. You're like, oh, God, it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't. What?
Yeah, I think little stuff like that doesn't get enough credit because we think about like big Easter egg quests. So I want to give a shout out to that.
Yeah, there's tons and tons of really good ones that were staples back in the day. Or even in 9. How about the guy that dies in the wall? That was neat. You know, a skeleton shows up, little things like that. Those are great. Or the rock. Oh God, the brick that would just go down in DE. Derice, where it would go into the floor,
like sinking brick.
Yeah, and then Shadows, it would just flew up into the ceiling. I didn't even know that. So watching a Milo video one time, I was like, what? That stuff's always fun and mind blowing. Cool. The Oppression, again, that name. I don't know. It makes me laugh, but I great question. Turbo donates $5. Our boy Turbo's blown up. I think he's around 7K, John. Turbo's a real boy. I'm so proud of you.
Turbo's been a real boy.
He has been. I know. And we got to do our collab. Well, obviously not now, but we got to play our Risk. It was you, me, Tim, and Turbo. I think we're going to play Call of Duty Zombie Risk for a video. Got to do that.
I still have it sitting in my closet. I've never played it.
Awesome.
But I'm happy to play it. Turbo is actually 300 subs away from 10,000.
That's amazing. Oh my God, we should throw a party. I want to throw a party for Turbo. That's amazing. How are you sexy animals doing? Just want to remind you both to keep them high and tight. Also, if it's actually called BO5, I will eat Pop Rocks and down a Pepsi. Like I said on a previous podcast, the worst thing they can do, the little worst foot to start off on is to call this next game Black Ops 5. That is the best way for everybody to go, kill me.
Just put it down like a horse at that point.
Yeah. Vog has been a member for 2 months in a row. Remember, you can become a member of this channel and get access to super cool emotes. I went and had custom emotes made, so I'm going to give that a shout since Mog ended up doing that, and I will put the emotes in chat, 5 of which are cartoon emotes I had commissioned, one of which is my little love, Athena, holding a heart. She's amazing. She's been doing great. And the man himself, the myth, the legend, Tim Hansen, donated $4.99 through Super Chat. Been watching these past couple weeks. I'm always down to come on the show. Well, fuck yes. Anytime you want to come on besides next week.
We don't want you on the show, Tim.
Why wouldn't we? I don't care. Tim can demand himself on the show 100%. And we got to get a revisit from Turbo. We had to take a break from Turbo because he was on so much. We were like, oh, we love him. And then he was on like 3 weeks in a row or like
let's get the Turbo Tim show going.
Got to. We're going to get him back on. I know next week we're hoping to do VR. We've pushed it back 2 weeks now.
Yeah, hopefully next week we'll have the guy who is making the VR zombie maps on the show. So that'll actually be really fun discussion.
So we're really excited about that. But if we can get a time for Tim to get him down on the show and some other zombie directors, we'd be more than happy to start fitting that into our wondrous schedule. As zombies and YouTubers can be difficult to schedule.
We gotta play hard to get.
Well, we do. If anybody emails me, we play hard to get. But Tim, I mean, I feel like he's got an open invitation to my heart right now. I mean, the guy. I feel like he could demand a spot right now. Noah, I don't know. I don't know about Noah. I feel like he'd have to win us over more. Where Tim, I'm in. All right, I got to promote one thing.
Nobody gets on the show till they play Risk with me. That's my demands. Nobody gets on the show till we play Risk.
I love it. Digger Dog 27. Thank you for becoming a new member.
This goes for every zombie YouTuber and every potential guest.
Oh my gosh.
YouTuber or not, you cannot come on the show till you play Risk with me. I need more people to play Risk with.
I love it. I want to. Is this the right preview? Or is this a different preview? I want to promote a poster real quick that I have in development. Yep, that is the newer of the posters. Fantastic. But I do want to thank DiggerDog27 for becoming a member. Mr. Drow is still a member. What'd you say about my note, man, Noah? I'm throwing hands at you, JC. I'm throwing hands. That's what I'm doing. I'm daring him to come on the show. How dare he? But anyway, if you guys are a fan of Resident Evil, Stefan has been slaving away. My artist, our artist, slaving away.
Slaving away. The basement of Treyarch.
Next to Jimmy Zielinski. And now, what if, oh my God, now we could have a thing for like Jason, like Jason's in the basement now. Oh my goodness. Today, he's like, I'm moving on to other things. And we haven't heard from Jason in a year, maybe 2 years. And all of a sudden, just like, this is what happens. Any studio head ends up in the basement.
That's sad.
Oh no. Anyway, this is the Resident Evil poster to celebrate the Resident Evil remasters that have been coming out. So I wanted to celebrate the awesome time I had with Resident Evil 2 and the upcoming Resident Evil 3 I was very excited for. On the poster itself, we have some of the staples of the bad guys of each game. We have Nemesis and Mr. X. You have the statue, very present in RPD, and even a little bit of the falling helicopter that's so prevalent. Their signature weapons, I know the Matilda and the Thumper for, it's not called the Thumper, but for Claire and Leon and Carlos and Jill, they have theirs. I'm unfamiliar. I forgot. We looked it up what their signature weapons were, but I forgot what hers were. And then you got your boy Hunk. Oh, your boy Hunk coming outside of RPD. Had to get him involved somehow. Originally, the design was going to be Nest, but Stefan talked me into Hunk, and what a good idea that was. And a little bit of an Easter egg I threw in here was on the windows, we have Relive, because I wanted people to, or I like the idea of RE is normally Resident Evil. That's normally what it's represented as, but you relive the collection. For some people, I'm reliving Resident Evil for the first time, or other people are reliving it in a whole new way as Resident Evil is being brought to them after playing through the original Resident Evil games and then the remasters. Now it's being reimagined. So there's so many plays of the word re that I had to sneak in relive onto this absolutely gorgeous poster. It is movie poster size, so it's 24 by 36 inches, the same as the Ether posters, which you can get at redrenderingly.com. They will go on sale at the end of the month before the April 3rd release date of Resident Evil 3, and they will have a pre-order period for about a month that you can pick these up. And if anybody's interested in selling these, let me know and I could give you a code, and you can get referral points for helping sell these wonderful Resident Evil posters for any creators that are in chat and interested. And one last donation slipped through. Oh my God, look at these members joining. You're wonderful. I can get more emotes now. Lewin Biaz 27. It's a great way to support the Zombroz show. Thank you for becoming a new member. And Know You, the Uno card, has showed up and donated $5 to say it's sad that Mobile Zombies is going away because I got a Wonder Gun on crate first try. I think there were crates available, so that's soul crushing. That he went and got a Wonder Weapon through a crate, and then that ended up getting the mode just to go away entirely.
That's sad.
I believe yeah.
That's kind of a thing that happens now with games.
Right?
There's been a lot of discussion, like like games you buy so far, and then what happens when that game goes down?
Yeah, you can't use it anymore.
Yeah. And of course, you don't own the things you buy in digital games.
No.
But the idea of like I'm gonna buy my PS2 game and I technically have that game for forever.
Yeah.
And I don't need to worry about the servers going down.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts from the old perspective that, sometimes you just want to load up and play normal zombies. We got another membership to try to keep the show going. Bar 4201. So it's more than that. Thank you so much for the sub. Get more membership hype. And I have to go commission a new emote, I think. We're getting close to the membership. I think it's 2 or 3 more. Maybe. I'll take a look on it. Maybe we should have membership goals. There we go. We'll have them on Zombroz every week and try and get towards certain membership goals, and maybe we'll do something for them. I don't know. You guys have just inspired something new. That's terrific. Oh, there's the stop right there. There's a timer to wrap it up. I believe.
Did you have a 2-hour timer set?
No, I have a timer to go to bed to stop looking at screens at 10 o'clock every night to try and get a better sleep schedule, so you don't have the blue light, keeping you up and all that type of stuff. So, with that said, new stream. What's that? a new stream for speedruns every Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm always running Easter egg streams, speedrun streams, or new game that comes out. So you can catch, this week is DE. I'm trying to get sub 45 minutes, sub 40 minutes on the Horizon Drock Easter egg speedrun. And a new episode of the Mainframe comes out Friday, 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. The response has been terrific so far on the Mainframe, and I'm super grateful to both my editors, Chroma and BT, for making that series exceptional. So I want to give them a big shout out on the podcast as well. And we hope to have another episode to you on time this week. I am going to complete the script tomorrow and not on Wednesday, and then get the edit to Chroma on Thursday to try and meet a 4:30 Friday deadline. I have to get that in order. That was my bad. Chroma keeps getting the crunch time. I need to be better than Activision and Treyarch. I believe those are all my announcements I want to do at the end of the show. So we have our last giveaway, right?
Yeah, our last Perk-a-Cola giveaway. So again, shout out to patrons Orange Man From for winning the Jug Perk bottle. Shout out to Chrissy B for winning the Cook Revive Perk bottle. And now we have the final one, the Speed Cola Perk bottle. Before I quickly do a draw, I want to actually, so after I nuked the Patreon, it's kind of hard to tell who's been around and who hasn't. But I did want to give a shout out to the people who are new to the Patreon. You have Kermit117, who's new. Joseph Evans, who's a new Patreon. Infamous Sibo, who is also new, as well as Dean115. So thank you guys they're some of the newest people supporting this Patreon.
Thank you very much.
Some people are new to this current iteration of the Patreon, but have been around before. I want to give shout outs to the new people, but it's hard to tell exactly who is and isn't brand new. So my apologies. But yeah, shout out to you guys, and let's get one final draw. We've hit 25 patrons now.
Hi. Thank you.
It's great. We're slowly getting back to our pre-nuke numbers, so thank you guys.
Yay.
I'm going to quickly update the random number generator. Number 15.
What do we got?
This is a tough one because now I have to count 15 in from the list. It was much easier with 7 because I could count from the bottom, and 22 I can count from the top.
Nope.
But let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, we got one of the new people.
Oh, snuck in.
Joseph Evans. Thank you. Snuck in.
Is that the same Joe?
Is that the what?
I wonder if it's the same Joe that's been super supportive of all my streams recently. I don't think so, but that's the guy that was offering his voice services to the podcast, which if we ever figure out a way to implement them, that would be dope if that was him.
So I'm going to write that down. Joseph Evans gets...
Congrats, Joe!
So yeah, thank you guys. We're at 25 patrons, which I was worried the redoing of the Patreon wouldn't work, but it seems like you guys are being receptive to it. So thank you. We appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get these bottles, these perk bottles going out hopefully tomorrow. I'm going to the post office tomorrow, so I don't see why I couldn't also send these. So thank you guys for your support on the Patreon. We really appreciate it.
You're wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And you can check it out. A link is in the description.
Oh, no, I'm Joe. No, I'm Joe. Everyone's Joe now. All right. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of the Zombroz podcast. Next week, we hope, no promises, but we hope to have the developer of Zombies VR on the podcast next Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Oh, no, it's got to be later in the day. I'm at a wedding, so it won't be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That's fine because I go back to school that day anyway.
Okay, so we'll either do it later, another late night Zombroz potentially.
We'll sort that out amongst ourselves.
Or Monday. So be on the lookout. We should have another one next week. If not, we'll bump it a week. And then patrons will rejoice because then they don't have to pay money for 1 week. Thank you all so much for watching. A new episode will be coming on the horizon. And eventually, Tim has demanded his way on the show like Jason Blundell. We shall have a Tim podcast at some point. Thanks for watching. Take care and be safe. Until the next one. Bye-bye now.